Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss certain important MCQs on photosynthesis in higher plants based on the syllabus provided by the TRBT for STGT and STPGT examination. So let's start with solving those MCQs. So the first question is, the C4 pathway is also known as, option A is H-Slag pathway, option B is Calvin cycle, option C is glycolysis, option D is Krebs cycle. So C4 pathway is also known as, the answer is option A, that is H and Slag pathway. This is the correct option. The C4 pathway is also known as H and Slag pathway based on the name of the two scientists those have discovered this pathway. Next question is, the bundle sheath cell are characteristics of, option A is C3 plants, option B is C4 plants, option C is CAM plants, and option D is both C3 and C4 plants. So bundle sheath cells are present, one single layer cells that surrounds the vascular bundle, and this special type of anatomy is known as Cranch anatomy. And then Cranch anatomy is present in C4 plants. So the option B is the correct answer, that the bundle sheath cells are present in C4 plants. The question 3 says, the primary acceptor of CO2 in C3 plant is, the option A is RUBP, option B is PEP, option C is PGA, option D is oxaloacetic acid or OAA. So the primary carbon dioxide acceptor molecule in C3 plant is RUBP, ribulose 1,5 bis phosphate. Ribulose 1,5 bis phosphate is the primary CO2 acceptor molecule in C3 plants. The next question is, the primary acceptor molecule of CO2 in C4 plants. So in C4 plants, the option is given here is RUBP, PEP, PGA and oxaloacetic acid. In C4 plants, the CO2 is fixed or by the phosphoenol pyruvate. Phosphoenol pyruvate is the primary electron acceptor. So the option B is correct. Question 5 is, the Calvin cycle occurs in which of the following? The options are granum, stroma, mitochondria and cytoplasm. So Calvin cycle is also known as the dark phase of photosynthesis, and as we know, the light phase of photosynthesis is occurring in the grana, whereas the dark phase is occurring in the stroma, that is the liquid portion of the chloroplast. So the option B is correct. The stroma is the region where the Calvin cycle is happening. The option question 6 is, which of the following is a CAM plant? Options are rice, maize, open chia and wheat. The CAM is basically a type of plant that uses special mechanism where the stomata is closed during daytime close during daytime and open at night. So this type of mechanism is seen in chem plants, and the option B, that is maize, is a chem plant. So option B is the correct. Next question is which process produces ATP in light reaction? So options are photophosphorylation, oxidative phosphorylation, substrate level phosphorylation, and none of the above. So ATP is produced in the process called photophosphorylation. So option A is correct. Question 8 says which is the first stable product in C3 cycle? The first stable product in C3 cycle, the options are oxaloacetic acid, phosphoglyceraldehyde or phosphoglyceric acid, RUBP and PEP. So the first stable product when RUBP plus CO2 both together forms a 6 carbon compound which is unstable, and this splits into 3 carbon compound, and this 3 carbon compound is known as PGA. This 3 carbon compound is known as PGA. So the option B is correct. Question number 8 says which is the first stable product in C4 cycle? Options are PGA, oxaloacetic acid, RUBP or PEP. So the first stable product of C4 cycle is the option B, that is oxaloacetic acid. Oxaloacetic acid is the first stable product of C4 cycle. Question number 10 says photorespiration is absent in which of the following? C3, C4, CAM or both B and C. So photorespiration basically when rubisco have both affinity for oxygen and carbon dioxide. So rubisco is primarily designed to fix carbon dioxide. So sometimes what happens, due to concentration gradient, it fixes O2 instead of CO2. That ultimately goes to a cycle called photorespiration. So to avoid this photorespiration, plants have evolved certain mechanisms. That is basically the site of light and dark reaction. This light and dark reaction phase has been separated so that the rubisco does not bind to O2, and this mechanism is seen in C4 plants and also in CAM plants. So the option D is correct. Both B and C, C4 plants and CAM plants, have certain mechanisms that avoid photorespiration. Question number 11 says which enzyme is responsible for carboxylation in C3 plants? The carboxylation means basically the enzyme that fixes carbon. So in C3 plants, first of all the options are PEP carboxylase, rubisco, pyruvate kinase or malate dehydrogenase. So in C3 plants, rubisco is the enzyme which is most abundant enzyme present on the globe. So rubisco is the enzyme that fixes the carbon. Next question is, photorespiration mainly occurs in which of the organelle combination? So photorespiration, as we know, when rubisco binds with O2 instead of CO2. It binds with O2 instead of CO2. So that leads to a problematic situation that has to be recovered, and this pathway is known as photorespiration, because in this pathway one CO2 is released, and this photorespiratory pathway involves three different organelles. So first of all, let's see the options. Option A is chloroplast, mitochondria, peroxisome. Option B is chloroplast, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum. Option C is mitochondria, Golgi and vacuole. Option D is peroxisome, lysosome and ER. So if we can recall about the photorespiration pathway, we know that three organelles are chloroplast, then it will go to peroxisome, mitochondria and peroxisome. These are the three organelles involved in photorespiration. So the option A is correct. So the next question is, in C4 plants, CO2 fixation occurs in which of the following cells? Options are mesophyll cell, bundle sheath cells, both B and C, or in guard cells. So in C4 plants, we have seen there is a special mechanism known as Cranch anatomy. Cranch anatomy, basically a layer of cells that covers the vascular bundle, is known as Cranch anatomy, and this vascular bundle is the site for CO2 fixation, and so the answer would be the vascular bundle. Whereas basically the CO2 fixation or the dark reaction site for dark reaction in C4 plant is the vascular bundle. Light reaction is taking place in the mesophyll cells, but dark reaction site is different for the C4 plant, that is bundle sheath cells. So the question number 14 says, Cranch anatomy is characteristics of which of the following? C3 plant, C4 plant, CAM or algae. So as we have discussed in the earlier questions, that Cranch anatomy is a characteristic feature of C4 plant. So option B is correct. Next question is, the cyclic photophosphorylation. Cyclic photophosphorylation produces ATP only, NADPH only, oxygen only, or ATP and NADPH. So there are two types of phosphorylation we can see during photosynthesis. One is cyclic, another one is non-cyclic. Cyclic phosphorylation where PS1 is involved, whereas in non-cyclic PS1 and PS2 both are involved. And in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, ATP plus NADPH both are produced, whereas in case of cyclic only NADP is produced. So the correct answer for that question will be ATP only. With that, we came to the end of this lecture. So let's follow for few more such videos that will come in near future. Thank you.